Preparing students to demonstrate mastery of math state standards can feel like a dull, unending cycle of equations and practice problems. Unengaged, frustrated students can weigh on teacher confidence and lead to uncertainty about overall achievement. 2 Ivy League-trained engineers observed this struggle and created a way to transform how students learn the fundamentals of math. Through the innovative Accoletics math program, EDA has helped more than 400,000 students achieve success on state-administered math tests and transformed the academic strategies and performance of schools nationwide. Accoletics' uniquely designed supplemental materials and tools are well aligned to your state standards and provide a clear path to exceed state proficiency standards. Through ongoing professional development, you will uncover common challenges and activate solutions that promise to improve student achievement in your school. By partnering with EDA and choosing Accoletics, you can start to see an unprecedented return on your investment in as little as 1 school year. Don't procrastinate on giving your teachers the tools to help students achieve their highest math potential. To learn how you can dramatically improve classroom instruction and learning, test scores, and student confidence, call, email, or visit Accoletics online today.
What's up, family? It's going down at the commentary this Thursday, the first Allison Marc Married in Media podcast live.
Special guests include the amazing April Watts, who will be the host, executive chef from the commentary, Francesco Ponte, musician and owner of Flow Wine, Marcus Johnson. The first black woman to solely own a tequila brand, Tiffany Capri Hainesworth of TCapri Tequila, and popular social media influencer Chima Eats will be in the house. And, celebrities will be in the house supporting Allison and Marc, RSVP at Eventbrite.
When daily tasks become too painful, it's time for change. Let our pain management and wellness practice, Valentine Integrative Health, elevate your quality of life and ease your discomfort. Visit us at ValentineIntegrativeHealth.com and start your journey to a fuller life.
Is that delicious beverage?
Duh.
Welcome to the Allison Marc Podcast, Married in Media for Wednesday. We're excited because tomorrow we have our first live event. That's right, our first live event at the commentary. So excited, so much going on. I can't handle the excitement, babe. We got a lot going on, and tomorrow's going to be special. The first time we're out and about with our people. I got to send a shout out to Global Moves Entertainment, the Grandeur Brand, Griffin Inc., and Pamela McMichael and Trustworthy Staffing Solutions, an R&D-owned supplemental staffing agency and residential service agency that serves the needs of the community, who is one of our main sponsors. And also, we got a nice lineup of friends and people in the house. So actually, we just found out this just in, Carl with a K will not be joining us. He got booked, so Carl's so popular. Get
your money, Carl.
Carl he got them gigs.
Get
so Carl got the gig. He is the black trivia guy, Carl with a K.
How you guys doing? Missed y'all last week.
Oh man, sorry, Carl. Yeah, man. I don't know if I hit you or not. But we're glad to see that you're thriving out in these streets.
Got to do what you got to do.
100%.
So we held a spot for you, but we'll have some giveaways, and you have to send us some trivia that we can use in your honor.
Not a problem. Send me. I can do some. You're gonna be in DC, Virginia. I'll give it around that. I'll give you about 10 questions. That's good.
And we don't want you to be jealous, but Paul with a P is going to be there instead. So what do you have for us tonight? Well, first of all, Allison, who are we?
Oh, we are the Allison Marc Podcast, Married in Media. We are two Gen X media pros who happen to have been married for almost 25 years with 3 grown kids. And we talk about everything from politics to history with Carl and pop culture and a whole lot of love. That's who we are.
And Carl with a K is a Black man who has history and more on his side. What's going on, Carl? What you got for us? What's our
this week I've been doing trivia at Fridays. I do that every week, Tuesday and Wednesday nights, Owings Mills, and Tuesdays at the TGI Fridays in Owings Mills, and Rundle Mills on Wednesday nights. And this week's topic, the first 2 questions on the begin what we're going to call Gone But Not Forgotten.
Okay.
We lost some people, so I was doing a lot of trivia. I included Frankie, I included James Earl Jones and things like that. So I'm going to start with a couple of questions geared from that trivia. And the first one is, Eartha Kitt once made anti-war comments that may have gotten her blacklisted. To what president? Who was the president? Was it Lyndon Johnson, Richard Nixon, or Harry Truman?
It was the Lyndon Baines Johnson, because I love me some Eartha Kitt.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's right.
I have a T-shirt because she had it wasn't even a quote, because everything she said just sounded like a quote and noteworthy. But she once asked the question, when I go to church, I never see any black angels. Why?
Wow.
Well, not even in heaven. There's no angels nowhere. She was political, and she told Lady Bird Johnson that she could be doing more than just this garden or whatever she was doing.
Exactly. She was trying. Lady Bird was working on doing a beautification in urban communities.
Right.
And she came back and let her know that, there's a reason why, these guys are becoming hippies. They don't want to go to war. You're sending them off to get killed. And that just did not bode well with her.
and spoke her mind, baby.
Yeah. So it was kind of amazing when I did the question last night. I can't wait to see the response tonight, because people were like, their jaws dropped, because everybody knows her from Boomerang.
Yeah.
What's up, Mark? And I think we're.
I thought you were going to say
Catwoman.
not even.
Well, a lot of people do.
The
Catwoman was 1965.
Okay, they know her as Mark.
And I think I'm finally coming into realizing how volatile the 60s really were. You know what I mean? Like, when you really think about it, and you put yourself there, I don't think we really, you don't spend a lot of time on it, because we just kind of how we are, I guess, as Americans. We take for granted things.
Right.
But that 60s, when you think about the establishment, they had a crisis because the young white people were like onto them. And they were very, you think about all the people who got assassinated. I believe most of the rock stars that died in these tragic deaths, I think they got taken out because the establishment was very concerned, because they were saying, well, if these 21-year-old and 18-year-old and 16-year-old kids identify, understand, and align with these Black folks and others, women, and who are fighting for their rights, we're going to be in a mess. So anybody that had influence was in a dangerous spot, and I mean,
especially with Herbert Hoover.
And he reigned for generations, man. He had stuff going on for generations, and then after he stepped down, after whatever happened, just think it was Bush. So it's like very interesting, like when you really think about the 60s and all that happened. But anyway, sorry, Carl.
I mean, that was that got brought up a lot last month at the convention, because they were because it was in Chicago, and they had the convention with the riots in the 60s, when they had the convention in Chicago with the the 8 or something like that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, in Chicago.
Yeah, the Chicago.
Well,
yeah. So
Okay, what? Carl's on the schedule, baby. Yeah.
Next up. No, I don't mind. Your time. I'm good. I'm
Okay,
good. I
good,
enjoy
good.
this too much. I enjoy this being with you guys too much. So they can wait. They'll sit there and still drink until I get done. All right. Tyler Perry once paid Cicely Tyson $1 million for one day's work on what movie? Was it A Diary of a Mad Black Woman, Medea's Family Reunion, or Why Did I Get Married Too?
Now, I think it's the Medea's Family Reunion.
I knew the answer, but now I don't. And actually, yeah, those three weren't the ones I was thinking of. So I knew the answer, but I don't know which one it is. What is it?
Why Did I Get Married Too?
Wow. Okay.
It was like one scene she was in there, but Tyler had so much love for Cicely that he wanted to make sure she always got her flowers and her respect while she was here. And he was like, he had no problem writing a check for one day's work for that woman.
And he named, I think he has named one of the areas of the studio after her. And,
one of the studios.
And others.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why it's kind of funny. Every time I hear somebody like, oh, Tyler Perry movies are this, or Tyler Perry movies are that, I'm like, you really, 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 if you don't like his movies, that's fine.
Right.
But you cannot deny what this man has done for a lot of actors.
Right.
It's
old and young.
The arguments that are out there, it really is just, and I get it, but also what people don't talk about, the woke crowd, is when he did for Colored Girls to kind of silence the critics, and nobody watched that. I don't even think he directed it. I think he did it, but I don't think he directed it.
I don't think he directed it. Actually, that was one of my questions last night too.
Yeah. And so
Girl,
that's something else we don't really talk about, is a lot of our art or whatever that we think is so highbrow, whatever, the reality is it's business, and Hollywood is business. And so sadly, yes, it's an amazing story, amazing production, amazing, film. I mean, it's a part of our rich history and cinematic history, but if people go see it, not so much.
They catch it on cable. And I mean, and
they
that crosses that, but that actually what you just said about the entertainment aspect, that crosses races. I mean,
yeah,
the Marvel movies do a whole lot better than Eat, Pray, Love.
Yes.
So that's just human nature as far as what. So I get upset more when I hear some of the highbrow people putting Tyler Perry down for the product that he puts out. I'm like, until people stop watching it, he's gonna keep making it.
Well, and people have to, like you said, if they don't watch it, it's not going to strike. So, and again, I'm sorry, I got rants today. So,
not a problem.
I'll pull out. Babe's heard this before. When I was in St. Louis, never forget, I was hosting a Black filmmakers conference, and of course, the brother and the sister. This movie, I'm blank now because I'm 58, but everybody knows the movie. It was amazing. There were two lawyers who used their life savings to make this movie, and they were taking it around to different cities. You know what I mean? And Sankofa.
Okay, I remember that.
And it was powerful. It was very powerful because you didn't see dark Black people featured in movies, and it was powerful because it made you be like, wow, you see the power of cinematography, right?
Right.
Here was the thing. At the same time, this is when Master P got into the movie.
Oh, he made
the hookup business. And I asked the question about, what he did which was brilliant. We used to go to Blockbuster Video, everybody, and you go on the weekends, you're just looking for a Black face. The movie could suck. You're just looking for a Black movie, right? And so he made $20 million. It might have been $200 million, whatever it was. I asked the crowd of, these are people in the movie business, are you aware of what Master P just did? And they were like, no, you know what I mean? But it's like, how can you not be aware? You could have done the same thing with Sankofa,
right?
At Blockbuster, instead of going around the country having people come out, But it was like that kind of that happens all the time. The business and the art. You got to have both. It's show business, right?
Exactly. I mean, I love the. I don't know if you saw the Eddie Murphy Dolomite is my name.
Yeah.
He did. Remember that's how Dolomite. He basically took his movie to one theater, bought the theater, and take it around. That was before video, of course.
Yeah.
Last but not least, a little military history for you. Marcelite Harris is the first Black woman brigadier general representing what branch of the military? Was she in the Air Force, the Marines, or the Army? All three of these have a brigadier general. Which one was she in?
Shamefully, I do not know. So I'll just say Army. Yeah.
I'm feeling Army for some reason.
Air Force.
Is this the movie that's being the movie that starring from Scandal,
Kerry Washington?
That one's about the
male.
Yeah, that's about the
that's about the male, the ladies and the wax suit, the women Army Corps, the male crew, to make sure that the male got out. Yeah. Those little tiny stories are always interesting when you look at the backstory. I love those.
Yeah.
But time is never good enough to watch every movie that's out there.
Yeah. I will watch that one.
You know what? I didn't realize this one, Carl. And I don't know why. So Watermelon Man, you know the movie Watermelon Man? You familiar with that movie?
The guy from Cambridge.
Classic. I didn't realize that was Melvin Van Peebles who directed that. That's
right. Yeah.
And because his were so kind of like avant-garde, and that had so many stars in it. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it was like a mainstream movie that smashed, but it was still way ahead of its time.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're watching this and have never seen Watermelon Man, make sure you watch it. It's like a black guy. What is it? White guy turns black, or
white guy turns black. Yeah, white guy turns black.
And so, and it features of the time. It had a lot of popular white actors. I didn't realize it was so mainstream, and that's why I was like, oh, I didn't realize that was him. But he was very successful. But anyway,
that was and Sweetbacks. Is an interesting movie. When I first watched it, like first of all, I was too young to watch it when it first came out. So
including his son, who was naked in it.
Exactly. But then when I went back to watch it again, I was like, okay, because we watched it in film at Howard in one of our film classes. So we were trying to look at it from a cinematic making of it. Yeah. And for what he did with what he had was amazing.
Yeah.
He didn't have a whole lot of money, but once again, behind the scenes, people like Bill Cosby, Sidney Poitier, they gave him money for Sweetbacks.
Yeah. Bill Cosby was getting everybody money. That's the other part, the history it's interesting. And I just saw the clip came up with Spike Lee talking about when he raised money. He said, of course, the first call was Bill Cosby. It's like, and Sidney Poitier, I think they both have been stalwarts in the whole giving back to the community. You remember the Cosby's donations to all the HBCUs
and I know a lot of people sit around and say bad things, and I go like, you just don't know what's going on behind the scenes. You don't know what these people are doing, and I want to be so famous that I start getting hated on.
I don't know, Carl. Don't say it out loud now. Don't say it out loud.
Let's stick with each other then.
Yeah, don't say it out loud and keep the freaky stuff down. Don't do that. Don't get wild now. Well, Carl with a K. Yeah. Well,
I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for having me, and I definitely will be checking in next week. Best of luck tomorrow.
Thanks so much. Carl with a K, ladies and gentlemen, joining us as he does most shows. And so we're not going to have Carl tomorrow, but we're going to have him there in spirit. Going to send us some questions, babe.
Okay, I love it.
And we got some giveaways at tomorrow's event with trivia from Carl with a K that I'm excited about tomorrow. And so now, speaking of,
can we turn our light down a little bit? Just adjust it just a touch, just a scotch. We just do it a scotch. Oh, so nice, thank you.
See, baby, I know we didn't want to keep Carl on because we had things to do. But I was going to say, just like Bill Cosby, in a lot of ways, this Diddy thing, I think, is similar from a standpoint of a lot of people have come out. I saw John Hope Bryant say something about it. You saw other people talk about it, how a lot of and again, not justifying anything that Diddy did, not justifying anything he did, but probably the final straw could have been when he tried to sue the liquor giant, right? And it was interesting, babe. I heard John Hope Bryant talk about, and I told you about it. Then I thought about it. I heard a clip from Diddy and what his beef was. And I was like, it's very interesting. John Hope Bryant basically said, a company, you do a deal with a company, right? Which he did with the liquor brand. And he took the brand from 0 to $1 billion, the stratosphere. Everybody was talking about Ciroc, right? And so John Hope Bryant, who is a businessman and a community man and all that kind of stuff, and he's a little bit older than us, his view was like, look, you did what the partnership that you guys agreed upon, they paid you a lot of money. And at the end of the day, he was saying, well, Diddy wanted Ciroc, he wanted his brand to be not only an urban brand, he wanted it to be for everybody else. And he was saying they felt like it didn't resonate in other places. So basically, hey man, you should have left it alone. You don't sue them. Your deal was basically your deal. You know what I mean? Boom. So I heard that. I told you about it. How I felt about it. I was like, okay. Sure. Then I heard Diddy's perspective. And I think this is the thing so this isn't even talking about anything, his legal issues, just talking about from a standpoint of when they come to you with a brand that's dying on the vine, and then 20, 30, 40 times it, the value, the popularity, everything else. And so to a guy like that, the same thing that makes you him is the same thing that says, what do you mean it's not going to sell in Iowa? My records sell in Iowa. And actually, he has a point, because the freak-offs is what we're talking about. But when you think about it, he, for decades, had the party everybody was at. Not the freak-offs. I'm just saying in general. When you say Hollywood party, Diddy, it was the most influential people in the world at the party.
Okay.
So, you know what I mean? It wasn't just for black people. His parties weren't just for young black people.
Okay.
The Hollywood, all the people in Hollywood, I just saw one of the guys from the show where they hand out money, Kevin, talking about he went to the party dressed in white, and he had the watch on, and he told Tom Brady that my watch is better than yours. So these are two people who you wouldn't associate with Diddy, but they associated with it. So I could see in his mind, like, yeah, I'm not just the black guy, I'm not just the urban brand, I am the man when you talk about partying or whatever. So when I saw that perspective, I said, and so in that situation, you always have to realize you don't own it. You got to just keep it moving, right? I'm not going into, we had a similar conversation this week about something I'm going through from a standpoint of, and at the end of the day, if you don't own it, there's only so far you need to go before you can call. And so, so they were saying that lawsuit and what it brought and the stock value and all the things that happened was almost the final straw to be like, all right, so all those protections you probably had from those people probably got pulled away. And then voila, almost like when Bill Cosby, they say, wanted to buy NBC. It was kind of the same thing. You're fine as America's dad on NBC, but now you're talking about owning NBC. That ain't going to happen. And so some say that that's why his son was taken out and this and that. And so then back to, we were talking about in the 60s. It's kind of the same thing, okay, you're fine. You're prominent. You're good. Don't push now. Don't come on now, because the same thing happened when Puffy tried to get with him, Irv Gotti, and these other. They tried to do a distribution thing, and that's when Irv Gotti's company got raided and everything fell apart. Yeah. Because that's the ultimate thing. If you produce it and distribute it, now that's a whole different ball game. Kanye West, the same thing. We're good. You're good selling our brand, but no, you can't. We can't let you in here, because if we let you in here, then we don't have any value, because really you guys are the ones that create the style. So it's like this loop that happens time and time again. And I guess the question is, when will people learn? Is it the ego thing? What makes people not be able to stop?
I don't know. I have no, my thing is this, hasn't been convicted and all that. He has been indicted. So these charges are there. And I find a lot of it to be just so disturbing as a mother of daughters who are talented and who might have wanted to go into this business and that business. And I find that arrogance piece of, well, you're gonna do this or whatever, because the exact same thing that you allege was done to him because of the power thing is the same thing that
he
was
did
done
to
to
others.
others.
Yes.
So
yes, on record, exactly.
That's kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Like, do the people that make the real money moves and all this, whatever, we probably never even know their names because they know to move in silence.
Exactly.
And so it's that arrogance piece. And let's not forget, who you are in this society as far as being, in this case, a Black man. And but if you weren't trying to allegedly traffic people or do mental and bodily harm to people and more, then you're not going to be in that position. So the same thing that was done to him, and you get that, like Paul Mooney called your wake up call, and your blank wake up call.
Right.
And I for a long time I've like, who am I? No one, not in the business, whatever. But that sort of negative energy that radiated from that whole camp and all of the things that have happened from, the deaths that happened in the 90s and all of, all of that,
deals.
The deaths that happened recently. You have people speaking out now more freely. We heard from Albie Shore talking about this book that supposedly is Kim Porter's book that they say is not, that was put out by some friend who's not a friend. It's too much. The same thing would he have been as successful if he had done things in the light almost on that side?
Right.
Who knows?
If he really was Brother Love.
Right. And I think that, am I disappointed? No, because it seems like that's a lot of this business when you got people sort of hungry to be in, and then people who hold the power. And it's the same thing. You got somebody who wants the liquor brand to be in Iowa and somebody who it really is over the liquor brand who holds the power. So, that's the scales of justice for me. And we'll see what happens in court. But for me, especially as a mom of talented kids, and we have a daughter who's a singer, right? So the thought of her being a lamb going into a wolf's den is too much. And I would be mad as hell, okay, if her spirit was broken in that way, because we know that leads to other things. It can lead to other things. I think about our girl, Stacey Ladisaw, our girl, Maya, these people who have said, I'm out. I'm talented, but I can do without it. And why? You know what I mean? Why? So I don't really, I hear you. He was getting too big for himself and was pushing and suing and all this. But bruh, if you know that you got 1,000 bottles in the closet of baby oil, for what reason I do not know, then be quiet.
Right. What are you doing? Right. Loud.
So
that's
how I feel about it.
You mentioned the Kim Porter book. By the way, I just saw an article. Clive Davis, who's 94, was asked about Diddy. He said, I don't know who Diddy is. Wow.
My God.
Wow. Isn't that amazing?
Because it doesn't start with Diddy.
Exactly.
It doesn't start with Diddy.
And we all know, and all those dead people before Diddy.
Let's think
Andre
about
Harrell, Kim Porter, Whitney Houston. So yeah.
And let's think about the Me Too movement from a couple of years ago when people were coming out. We got folks sitting in jail. We got very powerful people who, were in jail, no longer with us, Jeffrey Epstein.
Mm-hmm.
And so it didn't start with Diddy, but it doesn't have to continue. Period.
Right. So speaking of the book, the man behind the publication of the memoir purported to be Sean Combs' ex-partner, Kim Porter, tells Rolling Stone that he can't guarantee the book's authenticity.
Right.
After he claims to have received a flash drive containing the book for 2 music industry sources, but insists that he believes it to be true. Now, again, Albie Shore and others have said this is not true. This is just a smoke screen.
Because one of the passengers in it is like Kim supposedly is Al and Diddy sitting at a table. Kim walks in. What are y'all doing? What are you talking about? And then she's coerced into engaging in a threesome. That's when. So making Albie Shore look terrible too. And he's saying, that's not true. So he says it's continuing to try to kill his character. So
I get it.
Take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, because it is #1 at Amazon.
Of course it
but
is.
Again. In other entertainment news, Fat Man Scoopy mentioned he passed away. Come to find out it was heart disease, hypertension, cardiovascular disease caused by plaque buildup. And I just want to say, please, men, everybody, do you know your numbers? I took my blood pressure today and it was slightly elevated after it's been low for quite some time. And again, I love the fact that I'm in the habit now. I take my blood pressure, I take my sugar readings, I weigh every day. So there's no surprises. So I know you know your numbers. If you're over 50, especially black men, know your numbers. And again, you know, I have high cholesterol. I no longer have high blood pressure, but high cholesterol. But these things.
Did you hear
serious.
that he no longer has high blood pressure? What you do, Mark is on a strict, you know,
keto. I do the keto thing, yeah.
Right, of sugar and all that, and it's just the choices that you make, and I'm proud of you, babe.
Yeah, I think the sugar.
I need to do it too.
The sugar is the magic.
Oh, I got that sweet tooth.
Cutting out the sugar, I think, has been the magic. So, okay, basically, we've been out and about, babe. So we were outside this past weekend. I wanted to hop, you know, let you guys see a quick thing. We saw. This was us.
That's just a couple class, Marriage Built to Last. That's that our girlfriend Sean Yancey's new philanthropic push. That's a couple built to last right there.
Look at my wife. Look at my wife. I'm like, man, she's bad, boy. She's been bad a long time.
Big time weekend. And before that, Skylar and I went to the Truth and Classic, the Truth and Service Classic, the Howard versus Hampton game, where for the 8th time in a row,
go ahead and gloat, Allison.
Hampton was victorious. So it's this big, you know, they're trying to drum up support. It's really support for all the HBCUs because you see these two schools in the nation's capital going for it. So, so it was Friday night at Sean's event. I'm trying to get the name of hers because what she's doing is amazing. So she already has a foundation.
Hers was the Young Scholars Fund.
Young Scholars Fund. She already has Girls Night Out, and you come out, you have a good time. You raise money and goods and services for different charities, especially for women and children. But this one is raising scholarship money, basically, for young mothers, women who find themselves pregnant in college, and you're like, what can I do? I need this money and I need this support. So she started this branch of Girls Night Out for that. So congratulations to you, Sean.
And also I wanted to play this. So this is America is crazy. So
America is crazy.
Suge Knight from prison. Now, doing an interview from prison, phones are illegal in prison, right?
Don't they have phones in prison?
You can have cell phones in prison?
Suge Knight can.
Yeah, I don't think you can, but it's just interesting. So he's on he's on a news outlet being interviewed about the Diddy situation. I wanted you to hear what he had to say.
Nobody's stepping up on the fact that you know what's going on.
Nobody's defending him.
You're right. Guys at Interscope.
You're right.
Okay.
Nobody is defending him, but that's why I was interested in hearing your perspective.
Okay. Look at it like this. Okay, but you had a guy named Tubby, used to work for Interscope. This guy's job was to bring underage girls and have sex with employees and other artists. To the point where his friend got caught up with the same thing. How they raided Puffy House for sex trafficking, they raided his friend house for sex trafficking. Number one, I've been knowing him a long time. And we was friends. We're not enemies, but we were friends. He's not a dummy. So he's smart enough to work his magic. On top of that, this man right here, he been involved with the FBI and most of his career. He got powerful people. One of his partners who started his company with drug money, President Obama, got him out of prison. So it's not like he don't have no moves. So I don't think nobody should just count him out. I don't think he gonna lay down and just crawl in the corner and die. He probably going through a lot of shit right now because he probably going through a lot of withdrawals for the drugs. But the industry got him on drugs. I don't care who you are. Prison and jail is a negative environment. If somebody can do something to them and get a name for themselves, they're gonna actually do it. Or they can do whatever they feel they got to do to prove themselves. But we also got to learn. We got to learn from our mistakes. Everything don't have to be a mistake. You got to better yourself.
Jail. I'm sure an illegal phone.
Yeah, no, you cannot typically have cell phones, as we know.
I mean, the fact that you can be in jail and it's on a national news show.
Right.
Are there repercussions?
Perhaps they almost with who now, I forget. But perhaps they gave him, it's an exception and they gave him a phone. So who knows?
Go ahead, babe. Babe's always diplomatic. Now
they know he was doing the interview.
Well, speaking of being diplomatic, somebody who wasn't diplomatic Jerry Jones had a live with Jamie Foxx. I edited it, babe. So
he says he doesn't remember it. But
he doesn't remember it. I guess he doesn't. Jerry Jones harkened back to slavery times. He was on a live with Jamie Foxx. I don't know if you guys saw this or heard this. Here it is.
5'9.5", 210. 5'9", 210. 4'41". Okay. 9 3-inch hair. 8.5 inch. 8.5 inch.
What are you talking about?
Huh?
What is he talking about?
I mean, what?
He's talking about the size of football players' private parts. Is that what he's talking
That's what
about?
he just said. He said, 5'9", runs a 40 and 4'2", 8.5 inch. Boop. What? He didn't know he was on live, obviously. But even if you don't know, what are you talking about? And it didn't feel like it was. Jamie Foxx didn't laugh. It wasn't like,
Jamie Foxx, he disconnected the call or whatever it was.
He stopped what?
Yeah, he stopped it. Jerry Jones, I was asking somebody about them at work. I think I was talking to Wisdom about it. And he was like, this is nothing new. But even he was shocked. He said it sounded like something on the auction block.
Well, and sadly, it kind of like, it's not shocking because people always say that, the owners of the NFL and the owners of these teams that have these African-American athletes that, obviously the correlations or the similarities between somebody's physical prowess and, whatever is
it's ridiculous. And he said he does not remember. He's going back to the whole.
He's like Clive Davis.
100. I don't know.
He's like Clive Davis. Who? Puffy? Am I Puffy?
Wow. And I bet when Puffy heard that Clive Davis said he didn't know who he was, he probably really felt all alone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You got me in this game. Ah.
Now you really feel all alone.
And so.
Okay. That's it.
Well, we had a throwback, babe. We had a fun throwback. I mean, let me just tell you something. I just want to say this about not only my wife, but my daughters and my dogs. Everyone is a blessing. And it's like, how you have it's like, how you have something and then I don't say I ever take it for granted, but it's just refreshing when when Skylar comes downstairs every day, it's the same positive energy.
Right.
Hey guys. And then the same thing with you, babe. I know you hate when I leer at you. You hate when I stare at you. But what it is I'm so happy. I'm so happy because you're so cool. You know what I mean? You're beautiful, you're smart, but at the end of the day, you're cool. And seeing this, we got to play this. This is something
really old. This is when we were on the radio on the Howard University radio station, I guess. And I was feeling a little crowded that day.
But it's so funny. Check it out.
People in this house.
Oh. Too many people in this house. Can't get a minute to myself, Lord. My college girl's back home. She got her books all on the table. Can't find a place to eat. Pantry's full of fruit, feel like for the first time still ain't nothing to eat.
I want some ice cream.
Mark's losing his mind, turning the house into a real big studio. Can't find no place to be alone. What am I gonna do? Okay, let's sit down.
Oh, I forgot.
Dogs are people too.
Dogs are people too, okay?
Shout out to Brownie up in heaven. We miss you, Brownie. Yeah.
Dogs are people too.
So it was just a day. But you know what's funny? That was 2020 and the house was empty and full. And now the house is pretty empty. So be careful what you wish for.
I know. See, babe, see what you did?
Yeah. Got a lot of space now.
A lot of space. I mean, the time is pop, pop, pop. The time goes by. And speaking of time, we're going to have a time tomorrow. We're going to have a time tomorrow night. We are going to be out at the Commentary, and we're excited about it. Oh, that's my video. Okay, we're excited about it. It's going down tomorrow. Doors open at 5:00. The program starts around 6:30-ish. Okay, the program starts around 6:30-ish. We'll give people plenty of time to get there. We're gonna introduce some people there featured, but then our podcast. So what we're doing is it's live to tape. So it won't be broadcast. We're going to record it in real time and then, edit the video and have that ready next week.
The commentary is 801 North Glebe Road in Arlington, Virginia. Is there plenty of parking?
Plenty of parking.
Plenty of parking, Jesus.
Plenty of parking. Come out, eat, drink, have a great time.
Yeah.
We got a stellar lineup. We're excited about it. Matter of fact, if you haven't seen the commercial, let's go to this commercial real quick.
Will be the host, executive chef from the commentary, Francesco Ponte.
What's up, family? It's going down at the commentary this Thursday, the first Allison Marc Married in Media podcast live.
Special guests include the amazing April Watts, who will be the host, executive chef from the commentary, Francesco Ponte, musician and owner of Flow Wine, Marcus Johnson. The first black woman to solely own a tequila brand, Tiffany Capri Hainesworth of TCapri Tequila, and popular social media influencer Chima Eats will be in the house. And, celebrities will be in the house supporting Allison and Marc, RSVP at Eventbrite.
Yes, RSVP at Eventbrite. That's what the AI voice says, and make sure you do it. And so again, babe, you said so we can use this for a promo. So tell everybody to join us Thursday.
Okay, come on out and join us. It's tomorrow at the commentary, 801. Did I say North Glebe Road?
I think you did.
Okay, in beautiful Arlington, Virginia. We can't wait to see you. I'm hearing from people who are like, I'm trying to make it. And you look here. It's low maintenance. That's us. So
low maintenance.
If we see you, if we don't, we'll see you the next time. But it's exciting. It's just going to be a time for us to get out and to talk with meet some of our family here and talk about a couple of issues and also highlight to be like an executive chef at a beautiful establishment is quite the feat. Like how does somebody how does a woman rise to that status? Talk with Marcus Johnson, an old friend of ours who is a musician, jazz musician, but is also branched out and has his own line of wine. Talking with an influencer. April Watts is going to be there. Now, April Watts is
the queen host.
And it's just going to be a good time. It's going to be a chill vibe. And we're going to talk about we're going to talk about some things. We're going to get into a little bit of it. We're talking about family, relationships as well. Anything you want to talk about, questions for us. We got questions for you. We'll
Ask
see you
Allison
tomorrow night.
The Ask Allison.
I'm going to get a good nap.
The Ask Allison.
Yes.
Okay. It's so funny. I don't know. Okay, we'll wait till tomorrow. To do what? The Ask Allison.
Okay. What else did we want to talk about today? I feel like we're missing a topic. We're talking about the political race is heating up. Not too long now. I think we're under like 6 weeks or so. I think that's what it is. And I do not believe we'll see another debate between Harris and Trump, although she has said, come on, let's do it. Trump is saying that it's too late, whatever. But the next one up is the J.D. Vance and Tim Walz debate coming up first part of October. So definitely be watching for that. That should be a really good one because I think intellectually they're going to be on the same playing field, coming from different points of view. So it'd be interesting to see. I am interested to see Tim Walz's demeanor because I don't think he's afraid to go there.
Oh no,
I don't think he's afraid to go there, and I think that it'll be a lot of this from J.D. Walz. Wow.
Yeah, I think he's gonna.
And so I think you just gotta everybody's gotta remain professionales and and get those points across. So that's how I feel.
Mrs. SWFC, absolutely right. The execution in Missouri.
The execution in Missouri.
I meant to pull that up. That was so heartbreaking, and it's throughout the day I have been seeing people say that on other points. Someone's talking about entertainment or whatever, and people are like, yeah, but what about the execution? I think heartbreaking. Actually, I don't have my name. I don't have the names and everything, but the scenario I think that's heartbreaking, of course, is that the family of the person that the young man was accused of murdering, they were asking that he not, be put to death. And I think the witness came forward and basically said he did not do it. And so that was probably 48 hours before. Yeah. And so just heartbreaking that these
Marcellus Williams, despite questions over evidence, still executed.
And the conservative judges, this is now what we talk about when people say, oh, my vote doesn't matter, or I don't participate, or I don't do this, I don't do that. I think you have to look at, the conservative judges, the judges on the Supreme Court. The 3 Democratic judges voted to not, to not put him to death, and then the conservative judges, they were overruled. And so the conservative judges, they wanted to move forward. And so those judges, Kavanaugh and a few, were, put there by former President Donald Trump. And not only the Supreme Court, but judges, courts across the country were basically filled with a lot of inexperienced judges who had very strong conservative views, and they were put in there basically as supporters of Donald Trump. And this is when we talk about, I think the Supreme Court is definitely one at play. What happens when people when you don't vote or don't participate or you think you don't like the personality of the nominee or whatever reason you give for not participating and enforcing your civic duties, it has an impact. And
it's not just the president and vice president.
Yeah. And when you talk about people of color, talking about women, you talk about anybody who's been treated a certain way. The reason government has always been a big player, especially after the civil rights movement, is because in a lot of ways, these quote unquote programs or this kind of like attention given to those people who didn't have a fair playing field, those things were in place to help deal with that. And so when that's gone, I was, arguing with a young person. It's like, would you realize a lot of people don't know history? A lot of people don't pay attention. And so they'll see a talking point on Facebook or TikTok, and they'll embrace it, not realizing
the young people are on Facebook.
It impacts your life. These are life-changing things that are in play in real time. And for those people who just get your talking points in the barbershop or on whatever, and don't get them from me. Don't get them from me. I'm just saying, because I've been there. There was a time in my life when I was like that. My vote doesn't matter. Allison's always been a voter, always participated. Early in our marriage, I was one of those people. It doesn't matter. The system. But as you get older, you start to realize, true, the system, there is a system. White supremacy is real. But what you gonna do? How do you manage it? Something as simple as participating in your local school. You got kids, going to those meetings, participate in the PTA, your local politics, things that affect your house and affect your kids and affect your neighborhood. And on the big picture, same thing. If it's hard to send your kids to school, hard to send your kid to college, if it's hard to send your kids to whatever, if you are in need, if you're not wealthy, because the wealthy can do what they want to do in a lot of ways. You can buy yourself out of it. But if you can't buy yourself out of it, it behooves you to participate and align yourself with a candidate that you feel like can help you. And, to say it doesn't work, especially if you never participated, it's almost ridiculous. I look back on me and Troy used to argue about this all the time, and I was stupid. I was ignorant, because he would just be like so frustrated, because he'd be like, am I talking to a crazy person? Yes, you're talking to a crazy, but you're talking to an uninformed person. And so as we head towards our elections, not just presidential, what you going to do? By not participating, you're voting for somebody.
That's a great point.
By not participating, I don't buy, and then even these social media influencers that have all these strong opinions, it's weird. I don't understand. Are you getting checks now?
Let's talk about the social media before we get out of here, because making news also in the election, Janet Jackson made big news. If you've logged on to any social media platform, you know that she was asked about, she was just basically, I believe, asked about, how do you feel? You have a Black woman who is running for president, and what an amazing time. And I think that though we haven't heard from Janet, I do think that she probably just said something off the cuff, like, really? I heard she wasn't Black. Now, first of all, also too, like we've seen other women candidates get, pretty far as I'm talking about Hillary Clinton, right? But it's still pretty amazing. there are no portraits of women as president in the White House or in the history books, right? So this is an amazing moment in time. And yes, Kamala Harris identifies, she doesn't hide from her mother's heritage. Her mother is Indian, was an Indian American, and her father is a Jamaican citizen, right? He's right, but a professor here in the States, or was. And she doesn't hide from that, but her identity has been Black, because that word Black, let's be honest. Well, I'm not saying African American, Jamaican American. I'm not saying like, whatever. I'm saying Black, which is almost like that sort of melting pot, if you will, when you're here in America, based on not our rules, but the rules set back in place centuries ago about that. Like, you got that one drop, you are who you are. You can identify how you identify. She happens to identify as a person of, perhaps a blended heritage, but who went to a Black school, who pledged a Black sorority, who has never said that I'm anything other than whatever you take me to be. So Janet says, I heard she wasn't even Black. Then this apology comes out, but then it turns out it wasn't really from Janet. It was from maybe somebody in her camp who has since been let go, and for me, that reaction is weird. Like, why let that person
now
go?
You told me that Randy apparently is a big Trump fan.
So Randy,
maybe that's why he got let go.
Y'all remember Randy Jackson, who came along doing the bongos afterwards? So Randy
Babe, don't do that to Randy. I'm not going to sit here and do that.
I'm going to do it. Because apparently he's also like very heavily involved in her career, but doesn't really know much about whatever. So here's my thing. I feel like Janet, as the baby girl of the family, is probably always heavily relied on the guidance of her brothers. But if a reporter asks you a question, you've got to know it trumped anything else she was going to say in that article, right? Or whatever. And it's just, but then it begs the question, do we care about what celebrities say? I think in this climate, it's very impactful. Look at Taylor Swift.
Yeah, we can say we don't care about it.
Hundreds of thousands of people registered. And the visceral reaction from the Republican candidate posting on his social media, "I hate Taylor Swift!" ! All caps. We're in a dangerous time right now. So words have meaning big time, and people listen. So
sadly it was real from a standpoint of it was an article. They were doing an article, and like
they just asked her, asked her off the cuff, what do you think about Kamala Harris? You have a Black woman who could be the president, and she said, I heard she wasn't Black. I heard she was Indian and white. And it's like these words. One of the 4 agreements is use your words impeccably. I'm paraphrasing.
When you're a celebrity,
you always got to know to be on the. I learned that a while ago because I get to speak. One of the great, beautiful things about our jobs is we get to go into community and speak, and on a real great grassroots level, kids, women's groups, civic groups, and all of that, chambers of commerce, and understand that every word that you say is on the record. And Janet knows that. She's got to know that. So it was unfortunate, but she has not apologized, right? Not that she has to apologize. She can say what she wants to say. It's misinformation. That's why I'm saying.
Well, Wallace
it's misinformation.
And
Tito.
They were saying that's the other part when you talk about a news cycle. In all fairness, Janet lost her brother. So the priority for me to apologize on something that I did not mean anything about it, and my brother has passed away. I could see that too. You know what I mean? Everybody's like, you gotta apologize. She's like, I'm dealing with Tito right now. I'm dealing with my family right now. I don't care about this. I mean, I care, but I don't care more than I care about my family.
Well, I feel like if she didn't know, look, and I love Janet Jackson. Yeah. This is nothing against Janet Jackson, but I feel like if she didn't educate herself enough to know who the candidate was, you got to care. Like, the election is coming up, even if almost like you have to not say anything because people listen to you.
Well, and I guess it does speak to then Janet doesn't have the team around her she really needs to have.
She has Randy Jackson.
Because,
and Randy is Randy just happens to be a big conservative person. So I'm sure sitting around, they just talked about it. And he said what he said. So Randy's a MAGA Republican, right? Yeah. So interesting, right? Fun fact.
Yeah, so Radio Twin said, did she fire her manager?
Yeah, what happened?
Apparently that person that allegedly was not her manager, but the person who apologized. But yeah, apparently he has been fired. But like I say, well,
because she's probably like, don't speak for me?
Yeah.
Well, she educated on that part.
Or maybe Randy.
Now, who is this? Who
is
did
Randy
this?
her manager?
Bartholomew Exable? You're fired. Yeah.
It's Randy her. Okay, babe, Tito. Now, Allison, perhaps she had a great interview with Tito. I should have played that clip. That would have been great. So, Allison, you actually interviewed Tito Jackson. And you also, you're probably one of the world's biggest Jackson's fans.
I got to be one of the world's biggest
so your
Jackson
thoughts
5
on
and Jackson
Tito
fans.
and the impact when you talk about brothers who are a certain age and Michael's gone. What's your take?
Yeah, the whole thing was, Michael and Tito up there jamming right now. It's just, I think we're at an age, we're losing a lot of people. You expect to lose someone who is in their 90s. For me, 90s is when you lose people now. Like 80 still seems really young, maybe because we're getting older. But to lose Tito was just, I don't know. You look back and you're just like all the jokes made about Tito, because he played the guitar and then he didn't really sing, didn't really do all that, whatever. But you realize that somebody like Tito is just one of the foundations, one of the pillars as one of the older brothers.
Yeah.
And when you lose, and we know about that, when you lose a foundation, a pillar in the family, it hurts. And he was a family man. I used to watch his reality show with his sons. And and I know that they're really probably hurting right now because they were on tour. They were doing, and this happens. So, but I will say that I believe that he made his transition doing what he loved to do, which is be on stage with his family. So,
and that would have been
peace, Tito.
Wouldn't that have been so much better if Michael transitioned that way? That would have been so much better because again, you're right. That's what I think that's the joy. That's what the joy is, performing for artists like that. Well, at least he didn't have to deal with the line like Otis from the Temptations. Ain't nobody here to see you, Tito. Nobody
said
didn't have that.
But Eddie Murphy, I'm looking at you with Tito. Give me a tissue, and also Dave Chappelle, who made jokes about Tito.
Oh wow, you know the whole little.
And now what?
Okay.
Well, now what? So yeah.
So tomorrow night, see y'all tomorrow night at the Commentary, Glebe Road,
Arlington. 801. Is it north or south, Glebe Road now?
I think it's north.
Let's see.
Well, we have a commercial, so we'll play that at the wrap it up. You can find out. Listen closely. RSVP, so we know you're coming. And we're over 100 now, so we know a lot of people.
801 North Glebe Road.
And again,
Arlington.
Our podcast starts at 7. The show starts at 6:30.
I have to dip out at 8 o'clock because I still have to be at work.
She has to get her beauty sleep. And so, love
y'all.
Have a good evening.
Did we talk about everything we wanted to talk about?
I just linked up
on my Facebook page. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Did we talk about everything we wanted to talk about?
We pretty much got everything in, I think.
Okay.
All right, family. See you soon.
See you
tomorrow. Okay.
What's up, family? It's going down at the Commentary this Thursday, the first Allison Marc Married in Media podcast live.
Special guests include the amazing April Watts, who will be the host, executive chef from the Commentary, Francesco Ponte, musician and owner of Flow Wine, Marcus Johnson. The first black woman to solely own a tequila brand, Tiffany Capri Hainesworth of TCapri Tequila, and popular social media influencer Chima Eats will be in the house. And, celebrities will be in the house supporting Allison and Marc. RSVP at Eventbrite.